Today we are going to start wall of thorax. So here you can see this is the wall of thorax. So if we dissect it, we are going to see the different parts. So the thorax is mainly covered by pectoralis muscle. So you can see actually this is a pectoralis muscle, which is of course a muscle which is a part of upper limb, right? And also by some internal intercostal muscles. Actually this internal intercostal muscles are in between the ribs. So you can see here this is a internal intercostal muscle which is actually in between ribs. So we'll learn about this, how they are attached, what are their insertion, everything. So here you can see the wall of the thorax. The thorax is mainly covered by pectoralis muscle, which is of upper limb, and also by internal intercostal muscle, and also the membranes between the gaps of ribs, and even the membranes are found in between the gaps of ribs. So the arrangement is actually in the form of vein. So what is this vein? V for vein. First the vein is arranged, next the artery is arranged, and next the nerve is arranged. That are nothing but the intercostal vein, and next following intercostal artery, and next coming the intercostal nerve. So these are order vein. So this arrangement lie from above downwards in the costal groove of ribs. So in ribs we already know on the inferior side we have a costal groove in that order. So mainly vein, artery and nerve, in this order only they are arranged. And next the sympathetic part of autonomic nervous system start from the lateral portion of the ribs, lateral horns of T1 to T12 segments of spinal cord, and it is continuous up to the lumbar segment number 2. So in this diagram we can check out. So actually, for example, you can see this side. This is the way the sympathetic fibers run here, and they are running especially from the T1 vertebra to the T1 to the T12 segments of the spinal cord, and they're also sometimes continuous up to the lumbar segment number 2. So here you can clearly see sympathetic trunk and ganglion. So these are how they are arranged from the T1 up to the T12 and also up to the lumbar segment number 2. So you can see on the thoracic wall, if you dissect it in the beginning, you have first the skin, right? After the skin has gone, next you will have the superficial fascia. After the superficial fascia, you have the deep fascia, and after the deep fascia, you will have the extrinsic muscles. So what are those extrinsic muscles? We will check out here. So you can see that there are different extrinsic muscles like upper limb extrinsic muscles, especially pectoralis major and trapezius, serratus anterior, pectoralis minor, latissimus dorsi, levatus scapulae, rhomboides major and minor, and also you have of course the serratus posterior superior and serratus posterior inferior. So these are the different muscles which are mainly forming extrinsic muscles which are of upper limb. And next the extrinsic muscles of abdominal, especially rectus, abdominis and external oblique. And you have the muscles of back like erecta spinae, sacrospinalis. So these are all the extrinsic muscle which you see after the deep fascia. And next, of course, we know the gaps between the ribs are called as intercostal spaces, and this is mainly filled by intercostal muscles along with some nerves, vessels, and lymphatics. So today in this video, we are going to focus on the intercostal muscles. So intercostal muscles are mainly divided into external intercostal muscle, internal intercostal muscle, and transverse thoracicus. So this transverse thoracicus is in turn divided into three types. One is subcostalis, another one is intercostalis intimi, and the other one is sternocostalis. So transverse thoracicus is in turn divided into three other different muscles. So let us start with one of each muscle. So you can see here the external intercostal muscle, it's having origin from the lower border of the rib above the space. So for example, this are let us take this as example. So these are the two ribs, right? So in the rib, this is the lower border and this is the upper border. So and this rib also, this is the lower upper border and this is the lower border. So in between these two spaces, the space is called intercostal space. So in this intercostal space only mainly we have the external intercostal muscle. You can see here it is labeled as external intercostal. So this is actually the external intercostal muscle. So this external intercostal muscle is having origin from the lower border of the rib above the space, and the insertion is in the outer lip of the upper border of the rib below. So actually this lower rib will have the outer lip and inner lip. To the outer lip mainly the external intercostal muscle is attached. And some other different features of external intercostal muscle are, you can see here the external intercostal muscle mainly extends from the tubercle of the rib posterior to the costochondral junction anteriorly. So actually the rib will have tubercle somewhere over here. In the posterior side the rib will have tubercle, right? So what they are saying, the external intercostal muscle will extend from the tubercle of rib posterior to costochondral junction. So actually this is a costochondral junction, this is a costal cartilage, and this is the rib. This junction is called as costochondral junction. So you can see exactly posterior to the costochondral junction only we will have the tubercle, where the external intercostal extend anteriorly like this. It will come anteriorly between the costochondral junction and the sternum. It is replaced by the external or anterior intercostal membrane. So exactly at this position you can see this is forming an external intercostal membrane. So in front it will anteriorly in front it will form the external intercostal membrane, whereas all the sides it forms a muscle, external intercostal muscle. Now let us see about internal intercostal. So internal intercostal arises from the floor of costal groove of rib. So for example this is a rib, right? On its posterior surface inferior border you will have the costal groove. So from that costal groove the internal intercostal muscle, so you can see the internal intercostal muscle, it will attach to the costal groove posterior to this upper rib, and from there it will enter into the inner lip of the upper border of the rib below. So this is the rib below, right? On this inner lip. So remember, external, in the name itself you can find out, external intercostal arises from the lower rib, right? And it attaches to the upper lip outer border, because it's external, so outer lip. Whereas internal, it is attaching to the inner lip. Very easy to remember. So like that they are attached. Now let us see from where it extends. So you can see here the internal intercostal mainly extend lateral border of sternum to the angle of rib. So internal intercostal mainly extend from the lateral border of the sternum. So you can see this is the medial border of the lateral border of the sternum to the angle of rib. So angle of rib will be here, right? To the angle of rib. Beyond the angle it is continuous with the interior or posterior intercostal membrane, which is continuous with the anterior fibers of superior costotransverse ligament. So actually you can see the internal intercostal muscle is going backward, and here it is forming an internal intercostal membrane, and this internal intercostal membrane is in turn continuous with the anterior fibers of superior costotransverse ligament. We know already we have here costotransverse ligament, right? So with that, especially the anterior fibers of superior costotransverse ligament are continuous with this internal intercostal membrane. So this is about internal intercostal membrane. Next we will see about the transverse thoracic. As we already discussed, the transverse thoracic is having three parts: subcostalis, intercostalis intimi, and sternocostalis. Now we will see about subcostalis. So subcostalis is attached, its origin is from inner surface of rib near the angle. So this is the angle, so in its inner surface it will start its origin, and it is inserted to the inner surface of 2 or 3 ribs below. So for example, if our subcostalis started its insertion here in the angle of the rib, and it will leave this 2 or 3 and it will join with the next rib, especially to that also in the inner surface only it will join. Next we will see about some specialities of subcostalis. Subcostalis is a posterior part of lower intercostal spaces only, so it is extending only in the posterior. It's only defined to the posterior part of lower intercostal space. This is anterior side, right? So posterior part of lower intercostalis space. Lower intercostal space means only in that lower intercostal spaces only it will stay. So its origin from the angle, and it will extend up to next 2 or 3 ribs and attach there. Next we will see the intercostalis intimi. So intercostalis intimi is origin is from middle 2/4 of ridge above the costal groove. So already I said on the inferior surface of posterior side of the rib you will have the costal groove, right? Actually on the above the costal groove you will have a ridge. So from the ridge the intercostalis intimi will arise, and it will insert to the inner lip of upper border of rib below. Of course, for example, in this it has attached to the ridge. The intercostalis intimi will attach to the ridge, and here it will attach to the upper border inner lip. So if you see, almost all this insertions are in the inner lip except the external intercostal. It's having its insertion in the outer lip of upper border of rib below. So next we'll see some Important points regarding intercostalis intimi. So intercostalis intimi, middle 2/4 of all intercostal space. Of course, it is staying in the middle 2/4 of all intercostal space. Next, we'll see the sternocostalis. So you can see sternocostalis origin is in the lower 1/3 of posterior surface of body of sternum. So you know actually the sternum body, right? So for example, here you can see this is the body of sternum. On the posterior side of the body of sternum, this sternocostalis will attach, and also it will attach to the posterior surface of scaphoid process and also to the posterior surface of costal cartilage of lower 2, 3 or 4 ribs near the sternum. So mainly this sternocostalis attaching to the posterior surface of the body of the sternum and also posterior surface of scaphoid process, and it is inserted to the costal cartilages of 2nd to 6th ribs, whereas from there it is attaching to the costal cartilage of 2 to 6 ribs. So that is its insertion. Now we'll see about its like sternocostalis, some other relations. It is in relation to the anterior parts of upper intercostal spaces. So remember, sternocostalis is, its origin is from posterior side of the body of the sternum and also posterior side of scaphoid process, but it is attaching to the anterior side of the upper intercostal spaces. Now we'll find out the direction of fibers. So for example, you can see here the external intercostal muscle, right? So it is mainly having its direction of fibers downward, forward and medially. You can see they're like medially. So if I show with my hand, you'll understand. So now I'm talking about external intercostal muscles. So they're like this, they're medially and they're downwards, right? So these are the direction of external intercostal muscle is like this. Whereas if you see the direction of intercostal muscles, they are like downward, backward but laterally, that is right angle to the external intercostal. So for example, the internal intercostal muscles direction will be like this. So external intercostal is this word, it's medially, whereas internal intercostal is laterally, downward, laterally. So these are the different directions of the muscles. And next you have transverse thoracicus, right? It will run in the same direction of internal intercostal. So we know already transverse thoracicus, subcostalis, intercostalis, intimi, sternocostalis. So all this you can remember it like cis. See here, subcostalis, intercostalis, intimi, sternocostalis. So the mnemonic is cis. So you have cis. You have sister of transverse thoracis, right? So this transverse thoracis is sister of whom? Internal intercostal. Why? Because they both travel in the same direction, that is like this, they both travel laterally, whereas this external intercostal will travel medially, right? So this is the thing we need to remember here. And coming to nerve supply, so there should be a nerve supply for them also, right? So all the nerve supply to this muscles is, all intercostal muscles are supplied by the intercostal nerves, very simple. So here you can see the vertical section through which the intercostal spaces. So you can see the order is like vein, artery and nerve. So the same thing is here. This is a internal intercostal muscle and this is an external intercostal muscle. This is the intercostal nerve and intercostal intimi muscle. So you can check out this diagram once. So this is about this, and finally you have the actions of intercostal muscle. So what the intercostal muscle do? You know, intercostal muscle is actually a sister of thoracic transverse thoracicus. Why? Because they both run in same direction. So what are the actions of intercostal muscle? So they mainly prevent the intercostal spaces being drawn in during inspiration. So for example, if you are inspiring, your cavity will increase because you need to suck more air inside. So at that time there is a chance of intercostal muscle to suck inward. So to prevent that sucking inward, they prevent that, and also they prevent the bulging outward during expiration, because during expiration you need to increase the force and pump it out, right? So in that time the muscles may bulge out, so it prevents that. And external intercostal with interchondral portion of intercostal and levator costae, all this help to elevate the ribs mainly during inspiration. What external intercostal, internal intercostal, and also the interchondral portion of internal intercostal, levator costae, all this helping during inspiration. And internal intercostal, except the part of the costochondral portion, means that cartilage portion, transverse thoracicus are helpful in depressing rib cartilage during expiration. So during expiration you have internal intercostal and transverse thoracicus. During inspiration you have external intercostal, interchondral portion of internal intercostal and levator costae. So these are some of the aspects which we need to learn in the introduction part of wall of thorax and also intercostal muscles. Next we'll move on to the nerves and vessels, especially we have intercostal nerves, intercostal vessels, everything. We'll discuss them next in the next part of our video.